Corpse Party Tortured Souls might be the most confusing anime I have watched in a while, and I'm not saying this as a positive, so in case you didn't know, Corpse Party Tortured Souls is an adaptation of the game of the same name. It follows a group of high school students who perform an innocent friendship charm only to be transported to Heavenly Host Elementary, a nightmarish alternate dimension school haunted by vengeful spirits. It is a cult classic Japanese supernatural horror franchise created by Makoto Kiden. I want to give you a full breakdown of the game because 1. I haven't played the game yet, and 2. A quite few people have already made a full breakdown of the franchise, so with that out of the way, let's get to the episode 1. Also, there will be spoilers if you care. Episode 1 opens up with one of the girls from Kizurgi Academy telling a spooky story about how a teacher died at a elementary school that was called Heavenly Host, and how after this incident happened, the school was forced to close down, and then the principal of said school committed suicide. Then they hear a loud knock at the door and they absolutely scared shitless. But it turns out to be their teacher, Ms. Yu. After a fan service moment that was totally necessary to the plot, they start to perform a friendship charm called Satoko Ever After for their classmate Mayu Tsushimoto, who is about to transfer to another school. Upon completing the charm, they are engulfed by an earthquake and transported to the cursed Heavenly Host Elementary School, separated from one another, friends or girlfriends depending on who you asked. Name Nakashima and Siko Shinohara reunite and search for an exit together, but find that all the windows and doors in the building are sealed. While they are resting in an infirmary, Siko notices that she has lost her paper charm slip and leaves Nomi to look for it. Nomi is then attacked by a ghost and narrowly escapes before encountering a girl in a red dress. When Siko returns, Nami angrily berates her for leaving and drives her away. Nami later searches for Siko to apologize, only to find her hanging in a bathroom stall, which wouldn't have happened if Nami just grabbed the bucket earlier. And yes, I know she was panicking earlier. I think anyone in that situation would be panicking, but come on, she should have realized that the moment that Siko was moving, that she should have started looking for something to save Siko. Tangent aside, I also really hated the Dutch angles used here. It is so random and it comes out of nowhere. If it was trying to be scary, well, that failed because I was more annoyed by it that scared. And that fast shot while Nami is yelling at Siko, there is this fast shot of the dead body, the maggots infested teacher, and so on. It just really annoyed me. But let us get on to episode 2. Ouch. So this episode opens up with the murder of several students, while some girl explains that the longer you're trapped in the school, the more you lose your sanity, or so basically, like Twitter got it. Yes, I know that joke was obvious, but I had to. We then follow Aoka and her brother Satoshi reading a newspaper about the missing children when Juka says that she needs to pee. She and her brother tried to find the bathroom, but they ended up finding Morishige taking pictures of some poor soul that got their guts ripped out. Mochida and Morishige started making a plan on how to find the other students and warning Satoshi about the ghost children before splitting up. Amy is going crazy while Ashiki is trying to help her. Then they are attacked by one of the victims' ghosts, but are rescued by the ghost of Neo Senoki, a famed blogger who posted the Satchel Ever After ritual online. She tells them, in order to get Heavenly Host Elementary to collapse, they must appease their spirits and to find the murdered. Meanwhile, as Yui finds that Mayu is talking with the two children, as Yui tries to tell Mei to snap out of it, but before she can do so, she is violently thrown to the other side of the room by the force of Heavenly Host, I guess. Anyway, the two ghost children stand up, and we get another stupid flash shot or whatever it is called, souls. Yui desperately tries to beg to the hosts to give Mayo back, but this doesn't work. Then the ghosts lift her up, of course with some fan service, because nothing is scarier than some panties. They violently dragged her out of the classroom and splattered her remains on the wall of Heavenly Host, I guess, anyway, killing her, while her teacher, Yu Shishido, is struck in the head by a mysterious figure. Mayu's friend Marisha is still trying to find Mayo. Not knowing her horrible fate, he then decides in order to feel better he looks at the pictures of the courses he took earlier, and he says that he's still sane while looking at a bunch of corpses. He then gets a call from Mayo begging him to not look at her insides. After that we follow back to Satoshi and Yuka still trying to find the bathroom. They both stumble upon a girl in a red dress. They both followed her into what seems like a bathroom. The door opens and it has the outside world. Yuka can't hold it in anymore and Satoshi tells her to take a piss outside, and the red girl goes her to the forest, and instead of following them, he just going to wait inside for some reason. Sure, let your sister get hurt by forces that are beyond your understanding. Aka gets scared by the host children and goes inside to see her brother. Heavenly Host does its ass thing and she and her brother are in another close space. Good job, Satoshi, you dumb little piece of shit. Ayumi and Yoshiki are following Neho's advice. They look for the murdered children as Thomas to return them. While walking, the doll that Anai gave to them starts to talk. Yoshiki is freaked out by this and fall down to a wall where they find it bloody badged.
If he didn't take the money, why is he wearing those fancy clothes?
That's what he wanted.
The doll starts to confess to the murderers and they find out that the bag belongs to the little boy that tried to kill them earlier. The Jost boy knocks the shit out of Yoshiki and starts to choke Ayumi. Ayumi grabs the Tangyu and Jost boy is sent to the pearly gates. While that is happening, Yuka is still looking for her brother until she finds Marisha holding up a bat while taking pictures of the corpse. He goes insane, threatening Yuka after she is separated from her brother by the girl in red. Yuka is rescued by some dude named Yuya Kizumi, a student from Byakudan Senior High School, who proves to be insane as well when he stabs Sekutaro to death and declares Yuka to be his own little sister. I have nothing to say about this episode other than what I had already complained about in this section. Next episode. Yuya taunts Aika, but before he can get to her the building starts to shake. Naomi is still grieving for Siko. Her phone starts to ring and she hears a mysterious voice telling her to save them. Then her mother starts to cry, begging Nami to hear her voice. She throws her phone, then the building starts to shake. Meanwhile, we follow Satoshi finding out that the girl in the red dress is named Sachiko, and that she was the only survivor of the Heavenly Host massacre. He then finds a videotape and a notebook that could be their only way out. Yuka is being pursued by Yuya, declaring that he will kill her until he is knocked unconscious by the same mysterious figure that knocked out Yuya in the last episode. Satoshi then meets Neho, who tells him the reason why they are trapped here is because someone messed up the ritual. Yoshiki and Ayumi wake up back at their school, but they see a tear in the school wall. Then wall turns into one of the host children that they saved off screen, Aki Kano, who tells her story about how she was killed. She then forces Ayumi to see what happened. We find out quickly that the one who was responsible for the murders was Sachiko. She then brutally put her scissors in Ayumi's eye, and then she wakes up from her vision. Ayumi wants to go back to save the others while Yoshiki wants nothing to do with Heavenly Host, which is pretty understandable considering that they almost got murdered by a bunch of ghosts. They both argue about it until Ayumi decides to go by herself. We then follow Nami, who after being found by Satoshi, she blames herself for Sipua's death. Cut to Yuka being tied up and tortured by Yuka. After being saved by Yoshiki and Ayumi, he unfortunately dies to him trying to protect Ayumi and Yuka, and not being able to move out of the way just in time. Yuka dies due to injuries. Satoshi screams and we end on Sakako holding an eye with some tweezers while laughing maniacally. The most interesting episode of the series, we find out who's the murderer. A bit more screen time for Ayumi and Yashiki, and with that out of the way, on to the final episode. The last episode opens up on Neville releasing some evil goop onto this poor civilian. Our three remaining protagonists recap what we learned in the last episode. We cut to Satoshi and Nami going into the nurse's office when they find a diary. We then find out that Nell lied about the Sakako ever after for her crush Kibiti. Ayumi shows the moment she felt into despair. She killed her crush. She goes insane from this and dissolves into dust. Satoshi and Nami read Sakako's mother's diary, telling us that Sakako killed those children in order to keep her mother from being lonely, and we also find out that her mother fell down the stairs, breaking her neck face first. We also learned that Sachiko was killed by the principal of the school. Yu shows up, but unfortunately she is killed as soon as she shows up, rendering her appearance pointless. Gaku tell the others to find Sachiko's grave while Nami is on a trail of some sorts. Ayumi and Satoshi find Sachiko's grave, but before they can do anything, Sachiko comes out to attack them while the others are trying to get Sachiko to stop her murderous ways. We find out that Nami was the one who killed Siko, probably being possessed by the school's spirit. Just when she's about to fall into despair, she gets a text message from Sika telling her to not give up. Our three protagonists tell Sachiko everything and they managed to appease her spirit. Yuka warns everyone to do the ritual. Satoshi gives his to Nami since she lost hers, and they complete the ritual. Everyone make it out of there, or so we thought. Once Nami and Ayumi make it to the school, the only thing left about Satoshi is his arms. Both girls stare at each other as the crescendo hits its high note. We cut to an undisclosed time of weeks where we see a woman, possibly Nami's mother, calling in doctor to talk about Nami's diagnosis, saying that she's gone crazy and keeps taking about this friend of hers, presumably Siko. We then cut to Nami mumbling about something while her mother screams, "Where did that happy daughter of mine go?" And that's how Corpse Party Tortured Souls ends. Also, this episode is slightly better, but not by a lot. That ended scene and its follow-up, it has genuine the best part, and not just because it ended. The music, the shots that are made. Did I mention that music is good? Enough of the glazing. Let us get to how this show was made. Like I said, Corpse Party Tortured Souls is a 4-episode anime based on the Japanese video game franchise Corpse Party, originally created by Makoto Kiden and eventually developed by Team Grismers. The OVA serves as a sequel to the Corpse Party. Missing footage OVA. The series was directed by Akira Iwanaga and written by Shoichi Sato, with animation by the studio Asri, the same studio that made Future Dairy, Big Order, and most famously, or infamously depending on who you asked, Arafurete, From Commonplace to World's Strongest. C.T. Tanaka provided the series' character designs, as well as serving as chief animation director. Now we got that little history lesson out of the way. Let's talk about the animation. The characters stay consistent for the most part, and they seem faithful to the game counterparts, but my god, when the gore hits, or it hits, think of the worst way of getting killed, and the show does. It is gouging, limbs being torn apart, torsos getting cut, heads being blown up. It's a mess. Yeah, I have nothing really bad to say about the animation other than the unnecessary fan service and those cursive Dutch angles. Other than that, I have nothing to say about this section. The characters are okay. Obviously, I can't say anything about their game counterparts, but what I can say is that most of them, aside from a few of them, get little to no development. And yes, I know that they couldn't put everything in the game, because someone decided it would be a good idea to make this and 4 OVA instead of the usual 12-episode format. But I guess I can go over characters that do get something to work with. Yashiki, I guess, learns to not be as selfish as he was. Ayumi learns that she should not only never believe stuff you found on the internet and to never meet your heroes. Nami learns that she should not blame stuff that was outside her control. And then Satoshi learns that he should have never let his sister behind, especially in an unknown place, and thus Yui Mayo Morshite Seishio and Jupadanti get anything kind of development. Morshite is a necrophilic who is into corpses. Ayaka is clingy, Sexio is the happy-go-lucky genty girl, Mayo is Mayo, I guess, and Miss G is just the nice teacher we wish we all had. And with that out of the way, let's get into my positives. Like I say, the animation is good. The highlight, if you're into that kind of stuff, gore and fan service, specifically the gore, they really went out with the gore and violence. The characters' designs are nice as they are one-to-one with their game parts. Sachiko was good villain and her backstory was interesting while also tragic, and that as it let us get the negatives. Like I said, in the character section our main characters are flat as stone. Only some of them, aside from the ones I already mentioned, have some basic as personalities. That stupid duck angles they used for several scenes, the unnecessary fan service, the fact that it's very hard to see in some scenes, and so on. So in conclusion, if you haven't already noticed, I did not like this. Several plot points get skipped over or rushed, characters are flat and boring, and it just relies on shock and gore to scare their audiences. The only way I can recommend this series if you just want some mindless, twisted bloodshed for a quick Halloween or horror binge. However, if you want a deep narrative and compelling characters, you should pass on the anime and play the original interactive or PSP games instead. I have been Jun-chi. Have a great evening, day, or whatever it is in your time, son, and stay great.